Welcome to The Shoreline, brought to you by Shores and Islands, Ohio, where finding your lake area love is a sure thing. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Jill Bauer, PR Manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio. We bring you The Shoreline every week to give you the inside scoop on what's happening here in our island and coastal communities. July episodes of The Shoreline are brought to you by The Emporium at Market Street, a low-cost, inclusive marketplace designed to uplift local entrepreneurs, farmers, and artists by providing an accessible platform to showcase and sell their work. The Emporium offers a welcoming environment, fostering neighborhood pride in the heart of downtown Sandusky. Opening July 20th, you can find them at emporiumwestmarket.com. And speaking of the Emporium, they were our guests last week on the podcast. So if you want to know more about that market coming to downtown Sandusky, just go back and listen to last week's episode. And we are just cruising through the month of July. There's a lot of great events still to come all around the Shores and Islands, Ohio region. So a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 episodes ago, we featured the upcoming Ironman 70.3 Ohio, which is going to be this weekend in downtown Sandusky. And we revisited an interview that we did last year with the race director, Casey Gilvin, and then added some of the current elements, all of the things that are happening this year with my friend and coworker, John Limber. And we are really looking forward to this big event that's going to be in downtown Sandusky this weekend, the July 18th through the 20th, with, of course, race day being Sunday, July 20th. If you're in the area, if you're available, come down and support more than 1,500 athletes that are coming to the area. And a couple of other upcoming events that people might want to keep on their radar and visit. On July 19th, there's a vintage airplane and car show over at the Erie, Ottawa Airport / Liberty Aviation Museum. Obviously, the airplane show and car show is going to be outdoors, and it's totally free to attend. You can also visit the Aviation Museum at their regular admission price. And of course, check out the Tin Goose Diner while you're there. But it's a really cool event because you can drive in or fly in for that event. And then, of course, Christmas in July is coming up as well, July 25th at Soul Stay in Sandusky. They're going to be kind of having a tropical Christmas. And we did an interview with Soul Stay last year on the Shoreline to learn all about this cute little almost village of floating rentals on Lake Erie. It's right by Cedar Point. They've got little houseboats that people can rent and a really cool tropical vibe. They're having a big event on July 25th that's going to be holiday themed. And then one more big event coming up this weekend you're about to hear all about, and that's going to be Island Fest at Kelleys Island. Kelleys Island is definitely one of my favorite communities in the region, and I can't wait to talk more about Kelleys with our upcoming guest. Today's guest is Zoe Vargo. Zoe is the Executive Director of the Kelleys Island Chamber of Commerce and a dedicated school counselor. Her connection to Kelleys Island started with camping in diapers, but officially began in 2008 when her family purchased a cottage on the island. What started as a love for the island quickly became a lifelong bond. Zoe now leads the chamber in promoting tourism, supporting local businesses, and organizing major events like Island Fest, Kelleys Island's biggest summer celebration, known for its live music, vendors, festive parade, and fireworks. Off the island, she serves as a school counselor where she supports students' emotional and academic growth with the same energy and care she brings to her community work. Zoe says she's thrilled to chat with us today about what makes Kelleys Island a must-visit stop on the lake and why Island Fest is the can't-miss event of the season. Can't wait to hear more. Welcome to the Shoreline, Zoe.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about Kelleys Island and everything that we have to offer.
I can imagine. It's definitely one of my favorite communities in the region, and I love going over to Kelleys Island. I had the opportunity earlier, I guess it was last month, early in June, to visit Kelleys Island with a group of travel writers and content creators, and it's so fun for me to take people to the island who have never been there before. You know, there's always that unexpected joy when they, realize what they've been missing, or the surprise, these folks were from all over the Midwest. So just to learn that Ohio had islands was,
Yeah.
completely surprising to them. So I always love to take people over to Kelleys. But I want to start a little bit on your background. You mentioned in your bio that you kind of grew up on the island, first camping and then
Yeah.
with a cottage. So can you talk a little bit about your connection to Kelleys Island?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but my parents grew up in Fairview Park, and we've kind of always, we did our summer camping trip up to Kelly's every year. My mom and dad would make us ride the bikes all over the island, and they would be dreaming of buying a place. Like you said earlier, I started in diapers. I was just about 9 months old, crawling around in the dirt at the campsite. My dad's friend always said, get her in that dirt so she doesn't have allergies.
Hey, that works.
It worked because my allergies are very mild. But so every summer we'd come up. I had a broken leg one time we came up.
That makes it hard to ride bikes.
Oh, it does. But, it was the best trip because I didn't have to ride around the island. But in 2008, my parents found this little rinky-dink cottage, and that needed a lot of love. They purchased it. That winter, they left the water on. They learned the hard way. It flooded. We had to completely gut the inside. And then just recently, I think it was 2023, they had the big rain in the fall, and the cottage kept backing up, the sewage did, because it wasn't properly built. Some owner before my parents had just built it as a garage and then eventually added a kitchen to it.
Yeah.
So they decided, my mom about had it. She said, this is it. We're tearing it down.
A new home in the same location?
Yeah, it's about 6 feet higher off the ground. But it looks magnificent. It's just beautiful. We can see the lake from the front porch. It's just wonderful. So
is your relationship with the island still a weekender? Like, are you there all summer? Are you there on the weekends? How often are you there?
throughout my life, I mean, I have spent some summers up on the island working. I worked at the old brewery. I worked at the market and the general store.
Great summer jobs.
Yeah, I did the summer camps at the field station back when they were like overnight. You slept in like a pull-out bed. So I have spent summers up there. When I accepted this job back in October last year, my husband, I have 2 dogs. My husband and I really kind of discussed, because he works on the mainland. We're not right in Sandusky. We're over on the west side of Cleveland. I am going up about 4 days out of the week and then coming home for 3 so that I can spend some time here. And then I actually have some other jobs that I do on the side as well, you know, always hustling. So
it's nice that you have a place to stay when you go over to the island, right?
yes, it's wonderful, and it's not my responsibility, so that's what makes it the best.
So you mentioned you've been with the chamber since October. How did you become involved with the organization? Were you like slightly involved before, or was it just the job opening and you thought, well, this looks like fun, something I could do? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I saw the job posting on Facebook and I was like, hey, I said to my husband, would I be crazy if I applied for this? He's like, well, you're not really qualified. And I'm like, well, a lot of my counseling skills can translate, right? So my job as a counselor, I speak to people quite frequently. Obviously, that is basically the job. So, you know, making those relationships, building that community is really important in counseling, but that translates over to the chamber as well, especially because we're a unique chamber because we're throwing these events. We're a very small island, although we are the biggest in the U.S. in Erie. I saw it, I applied. Luckily, I knew some of the board members at the time. They knew me since I was a child. I interviewed, I did 2 different interviews, and just kind of all came together, and it's been wonderful ever since.
You mentioned it's a unique chamber of commerce. Obviously, I think island life and island businesses probably have their unique challenges. But what do you see as the Chamber of Commerce's mission, or how does it support the island and the community businesses?
So I think this is a really interesting topic. Chamber of Commerces are supposed to support and promote the businesses that they serve, which is definitely a huge part of what we do. But we're also promoting and supporting the island as a whole with different tourism, the different events that we're putting on to boost the amount of people that are coming over to the island. So a huge part of my time is spent on planning these events that we host, which a lot of chambers on the mainland might not necessarily do, or they're fundraising events for their chamber, whereas these are not necessarily fundraising events for us.
Well, not necessarily for your organization, but they help keep all of those businesses going as well. Being island businesses, one unique aspect is that many of them are not open year round. Many of them are just seasonal businesses, and they really rely on having visitors come to the island. So that's why kind of are tasked with a unique to a chamber role of marketing the island itself to get people to come out there and visit. And I think events is a great way to do that. For the most part, somebody's going to see a cool event and come out there, but they're not going to just go to the event, right? They're going to get a bite to eat. They're going to stop in and shop. They're going to, that's how those businesses gain customers as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And that's something in January, we had a new board come in. So not only was I new, but most of our board members were new. And we really want to focus on our shoulder seasons, is what we call them, the spring and the fall, to promote the island, because after Labor Day and before Memorial Day, our numbers are drastically different than a weekend in July or June. So we want people to still come. It's honestly my favorite time of the year because the island is just beautiful, with the different trees turning in the fall. It's just Titus Road. I don't know if you've ever been on Titus Road.
Oh, yes, in the fall.
Oh, it's my favorite place.
Agreed. Well, I want to get into the seasonality of a little bit later, but before we get to that, Zoe, because some of our listeners have never been to the island at all, and maybe just don't even know Kelleys Island at all. So for people that haven't visited, in your opinion, what makes Kelleys Island a must-visit destination?
So we have a large portion of the island that is either state land or preserves. So there is an expansive trails for bikes and for hiking. There's a lot of just natural things for people to do on the island. I'd say, everybody always compares us to Put-in-Bay, and Put-in-Bay is a great place to go visit if you want to do, the shopping, the eating, the adventure. But Kelleys Island is a little bit more laid back. We have a bit more nature areas for those families. We have Horseshoe Lake and North Pond that are both great, fantastic hiking trails and biking trails for people to go on. But then we also have the downtown area, and some people come and visit and just stay downtown because there is so much to do downtown with the different shops and the different restaurants for people to eat at. And obviously you have the lake, which just kind of sells you to begin with. But, there's so much to do. There's galleries on the island, there's museums, we have everything that you really can think of except for McDonald's and Taco Bell.
Who needs that? Who needs that? When you've got all of the amazing hidden gems that I think are what make up Kelleys Island. So if somebody is visiting the island and they've not been there before, you have, kind of what I would call an informational center. Can you tell me where that's located and what people can get there?
So if you come in on the jet, you get out right where our new office is. We moved this year, so we're at 104 Division Street, which is the Jet Hut. Casinos cards are also in there, so we are there. All of our flyers for our membership are there, but we also have the island map that's offered there, which is something that all the businesses hand out. The ferry also hands that out. This year we started printing a island guide, like a tour guide that kind of highlights the different places on the island that people frequently want to see. And it kind of just gives you a map, step by step, of where to go on the island. That has been very popular this year.
And very helpful, especially, like I said, the people that I took over earlier in the year had never been before. And so to be able to kind of visualize, the lay of the land when you're being transported in a golf cart and have no idea where you're going, to say, okay, now, take a look at this map. Now, here we are out at the state park. We're on the north end of the island. And that's why, you may have your phone turn over that you're close to Canada, because look, I mean, we're literally right over there. It would be Peely Island.
Yeah.
And, to take them out to West Bay and, be able to show them on a map, and okay, now this is where we're located, and this is why this is a great location to watch the sunset, because now we're on the west side of the island, and, where the sun is going down. So we were talking a little bit earlier again about the seasonality of it, the peak and the off-peak seasons. So what do you think your mission is going to be? What are your goals in promoting those off-peak seasons?
So as the chamber, we're really trying to start to focus on those off seasons. This year, we were just trying to keep our feet planted, keep them wet in the activities that we already have planned. Next year, we are hoping to add some more events in the fall and in the spring to help boost those. Obviously, our members have different events. I'm looking at our calendar right now. In October, they have West Bay offers Oktoberfest, and then we have the kids Halloween and adult Halloween. But we also have the Harvest Festival and family hay rides by the Landowners Association. But then in November, we have potlucks for Thanksgiving, the OSU versus Michigan tailgate party, which is always a hit at the Village Pump.
It's a big event.
Yeah, and I think the wine companies started their sites scents and sounds of like Christmas time or the holidays in November last year, and they're redoing it this year, which was really interesting to go to last year. So, our members are putting on their events, but as a chamber, we want to kind of entice people to come over. In addition to just one place's events, we want to start building some more events in those shoulder seasons to help promote people to come over.
Awesome. I have two thoughts. So one is, when I was over there out at the Kelleys Island Wine Company that you just mentioned, I was rather surprised to learn that they're only closed from January through March. Their season is quite extensive. So that is an opportunity for businesses being open a little bit longer. Now, I'm sure in those off-peak seasons, they are catering more to folks that are on the island year round, because there are folks that live out there. But then that leads to my other thought, is just that the misconception that the season is Memorial Day to Labor Day, right? I mean, we get that kind of for the whole region, that people assume Shores and Islands, Ohio is just a summer destination, and it's so much more than that. So I really appreciate you talking about all of the amazing things that there are still to do on the island, outside of that summer season. So you mentioned some of the events that you are putting on as a chamber. I'm guessing right now that Island Fest is probably at the top of your your focus. So tell me all about Island Fest this year.
So Island Fest this year, our theme is boats and boots, and everybody kind of looked at me like I'm crazy.
Is it country, like country boots?
Yeah. Yes. So country boots, like Western meets lake life, right? So our t-shirts are phenomenal this year. I can't wait to get my hands on one. There's the light blue color with some anchors, the cowboy boots, the cowboy hat, the ropes. They look amazing. One of our members, the Kelleys Island Clothing Company, designed the shirt and is producing it for us, and they just look fantastic. But we have vendors, that come to the park area. We select the vendors so that they're not taking business away from our businesses, and that was a big discussion this year, because we do have food vendors, but we specifically make it so those food vendors are not serving meals that are similar or take over what our restaurants offer.
It's some kind of cuisine that you can't get anywhere else, or something that doesn't compete necessarily with the restaurants on the island.
Yeah, and we have one truck that brings bison meat over, and that's always a hit. He's always sold out. My mom absolutely loves the burgers, the bison burgers. So, and then obviously we have the corn dogs and the funnel cakes and the lemonade.
Festival food.
Yeah. But we also have vendors that are selling different items. There are some this year that are new that are tailored to lake life, that are nautical, beachy kind of stuff. But we also have our staples that have been coming every year. The sunglasses are coming back. The caricatures, which I used to love as a kid. I have like 20 different ones. I swear, every year I managed to convince my parents to.
It's such a fun souvenir and like a snapshot in time.
And we have the toe wrangler. She's coming back. She does different toe rings and different.
I was going to ask. I'm like, the toe wrangler? What does that mean? Toe rings. Okay, now I get it.
She's guilted me into some different purchases through the years too.
Oh, funny.
So some of our staples are coming back, and then we're introducing some new vendors as well. I think there's going to be a snow cone place, which is new this year, which I'm excited for because hopefully the weather's wonderful. And
I'll tell you, kids love that. Every fair festival event I go to, my kids want flavored ice.
Yeah, it's a genius invention, that's for sure.
So the Island Fest is this upcoming weekend. It's July 18th through 20th. And in addition to vendors, you have a parade, you have live music. Do you know what the musical entertainment is?
So we have street dances that are 7 to 11 p.m.
Friday night and Saturday night?
Yeah, in the actual downtown street. So the police department closes it off for us. We have different games for kids to play. People dance in the street. I think I'm going to try to get him to play some country music, so people really play into that Western part of the theme this year. But it's DJ Marky Mark, who frequents the island very often.
I want to see line dances on the streets of Kelleys Island.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really fantastic to see. So we have DJ Marky Mark at night, and then we have Stan G during the day on Saturday for people to come over and listen to. And like you mentioned, before Stan G comes out on, we have the parade that starts at Old Newman Dock and goes into town, which is always a favorite. My nephews are getting ready to collect all their candy.
It's a really fun parade. I've been in the parade before. Well, what's really fun, I think, about your parade, the Island Parade, is that floats. They're not even necessarily floats, they're decorated golf carts because the golf cart is the transportation du jour on the island. Yeah. And so people really hype up their golf carts and decorate them, and a lot of times to the theme. So we should see a lot of country and Western.
I sure hope so.
Things this year.
Yeah, I have a person that helps. Her name's Barb. She does some of our social media for us and some of our graphics. And she designed the cutest little golf cart, mock-up of what somebody could do for some of our marketing material. And I was like, if I could just drag and drop this into real life, that would be amazing. But I'm really looking forward. Everybody always goes all out. 4th of July, we just had 4th of July. They had a parade from Seaway down to downtown, and I know that people just went crazy. I personally went to the dollar store and probably spent $50 on decorations. So
much fun. So the chamber itself does host other events throughout the year. I know some of them have already happened, but assume that some of these things will be regular occurrences in the future. So what other signature events does the chamber organize?
Yeah, so we kick off our season in 2026. It will actually be the last day in May, our 10K.
Popular race. Always a popular race.
Yeah, this year we had record numbers. We had over 600 registration for the event. It was a fantastic day. The weather was perfect for those runners. So we kick off the season with that. Then we have Bike Week that comes, sometimes it's 2 days later, some days it's a week later, but it's that first week in June that kind of goes along with Ohio Bike Week. We're just one of the day events for that. We also, this year was our third Brews Cruise, which is a fundraising event for Sandusky Witches Walk that happens in Sandusky in October. So they came over a few weekends ago, did their witches.
People were dressed up as witches and pirates
Yeah.
and taking over the island. That's fun.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's wonderful to see, and people are always so confused when they see them at first.
Right.
And people like don't realize that that's like acceptable to do either, which is kind of cool when people like see that and like are like, oh yeah, everybody has a place on this island. So then after Witches Walk, obviously we have Island Fest coming up this weekend. Then we have Film Fest, which is that first weekend in August. This year I am so excited. We're doing an 80s throwback theme.
And this is an outdoor movie event, so it's like an island almost drive-in experience, except for you just kind of hanging out in your golf carts.
Yeah, it's always golf carts, right? So yes, it's outdoor. It's completely free for anybody who wants to come see. So Saturday we're doing a double feature of Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Footloose.
Oh, awesome.
The original one, right?
Of course. Kevin Bacon all the way.
And then Sunday, we're doing Dirty Dancing. So
how fun.
Yeah, we're lucky enough to have some generous sponsors for those events that sponsor the movies. So the General Store has sponsored one, Seaway has sponsored one, and the Crooked Tree Vineyard and Winery has sponsored Dirty Dancing. So we'll have a concession stand. I'm hoping to bring some 80s themed candy over. I might have to go find a special store for that one. But we have that in August, and then we cap the season with Treasure Island on September 6th. So
what is Treasure Island?
So Treasure Island is an island-wide garage sale. I think we're going to really play into the pirate theme this year with some of our marketing material.
Fun.
Different places, different people who have houses on the island register with us, and they get put on a map. And then, we have a lot of people that come over to do the garage sailing. Those people are very serious about it. And
they're hunting for treasure.
Yeah, exactly. You get it.
So since you, obviously you're doing a lot of events to promote people coming over to the island, but you also do a lot to support your local island businesses. Are there any like new openings, new business openings or success stories that you want to highlight for the island this year?
Yeah, so we actually have had 2 different businesses reopen, kind of get a facelift, if you will, on the island. So Peepers downtown, which used to be Bag the Boon before it was Peepers, is now called Groove. They updated their menu. It looks fantastic. I haven't had an opportunity to go quite yet, but they've kept the strawberry shots.
That was going to be my first question. Do they still have strawberry shots?
It must be like in the foundation of that building, because I don't think anybody will ever get rid of it.
And for those of you that don't know, they take a strawberry and hollow it out like a shot glass. And it's probably proprietary. I don't even know what kind of liqueur they put in there, but it has, some kind of whipped cream on top, and you just eat the strawberry whole. It's so delicious.
Yeah. So they reopened, they refreshed their, the building. It looks fantastic if you haven't had a chance to see it. They refreshed the menu. There's some new things on the menu that nowhere else on the island offers. So that's very exciting for us. Sometimes we need something different. So they have offered that to us. In addition to the Groove, the Villa is also offering something new for people on the island. They are located where the old brewery was. They also gave the building a facelift. They bought the entire property, which consists of some rentals, as well as the restaurant. It's right across the street from the Venture Island Resort, so it's just a little out of town, but they have an upscale menu. I've heard fantastic things about it as well. I haven't had a chance either. Every time I'm up there, I'm working, so unfortunately, I'm like eating tuna pouches in the office instead of eating at these wonderful locations.
Well, Zoe, you need to make it part of your job. Like this is work research, because you need to be able to tell your visitors what the experience is like.
I think that's a great point.
And I do too. So I'll come over and have lunch with you sometime.
That sounds wonderful. So those are the two new restaurants on the island. You know, obviously every year the restaurants are adding new things. I know Island House has put out a new menu a few weeks ago. They had some kitchen updates in the spring as well. So everybody's coming up with new things, changing things a little bit, but obviously keeping the staples and the specials that everybody loves so much.
So when we talked about the villa, actually, when I was out there recently, they had not opened yet. They were getting ready to open. So I was, going by, going, oh my gosh, it looks amazing. The facelift that they gave that property and the outdoor patio area. Just I know nothing about the food, but I know that it looks amazing and it's a fantastic view. But you mentioned that it was next to the Venture Resort. So can you talk just a little bit about what kind of lodging options are available if somebody wanted to stay on Kelleys Island?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of different types of lodging options for our guests. Obviously we have the hotel, which is the Venture Island Resort. It's a resort-styled location, suites for families. They have a pool that overlooks the lake. It's beautiful. Pro tip, you can get a pass just for the pool if you're a resident or visiting the island and not staying there. I don't know the price for it, but sometimes when there's
did not know that.
Yeah, when there's those advisories for the lake for bacteria or whatever, sometimes we take my nephews there to go get their energy expelled. But they're great. They just started offering towels too for their pool. So that's one option. We also have a whole slew of rentals. There's places that hold 2 people. There's places that hold up to 20 people, which is crazy.
It's a big group.
I can't imagine changing all those sheets, but we have rentals all over. You can find rentals on our website. Some places do week-long rentals. Some people do just weekend rentals. There's a place for everybody. Some allow dogs, some don't. You can really tailor it to what you need. And then obviously, we have the state park that has campgrounds, but in addition to the campsites that they have, which some are no electricity, no running water, but then they have ones that are full hookups as well. They also have the yurts and the cabins, which are a little bit more
glamping.
Yeah, glamping, if you will. I don't know if it's really glamping because it's not like a tiny, cute little house, but it's definitely still state park vibes, but they're right on the lake. They have a beautiful view of the North Bay, so that's also a great option. And then we have some places that just have a single room that you can rent as well. We have plenty of options for everybody. You can check out our website to kind of see what fits your bill. We have different filters for you to use as well, so.
And as far as getting to the island, I know you already mentioned your location is at the kind of jet hub. So the Jet Express is one option if you don't need to take a vehicle with you, right? So the Jet Express is a passenger-only ferry, and the most direct way would be to take from Sandusky to Kelleys Island. But then the Jet Express also operates out of Port Clinton, then to Put-in-Bay, and you can finagle it so that if you can switch boats and then get from Put-in-Bay to Kelleys. And then there's also the Kelleys Island ferry, because you did mention camping and boating, and you do have that option to bring your RV to the island via the Kelleys Island ferry, and that departs from Marblehead, Ohio. So you can take the Kelleys Island ferry for both passengers and vehicles. And I believe both ferries allow bicycles, but there are lots of places on the island. You don't have to take a vehicle with you. You can rent a bike or you can rent a golf cart.
Mm-hmm. The other way you can get to the island, and this is something that you could do in the shoulder seasons or even in that season that nobody likes, the winter season. Griffin flies over to the island. My parents have spent the winter on the island, and has used Griffin to get over. So that's another option. And they do operate during the summer as well. So you can.
And that's out of Port Clinton, out of the Erie, Ottawa airport.
Yep, so that's another option for you. Or if you have your own boat, there's plenty of marinas that you can dock at. There's people that swim between the islands as well.
I wouldn't recommend that unless you're,
No.
an Olympic athlete, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
But it has been done. That is correct. I want to kind of wrap up our interview, Zoe, with just going back to you personally.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite things about Kelleys Island?
I'm a counselor, right? So I should be in therapy. One of the things that my therapist says is that when I am at Kelleys Island, she can tell the difference because I am calm. I am spending time in nature, right? I'm going on hikes. I'm spending time in the lake. I'm out on the boat. I get the breeze. I would say that's probably my favorite thing. We have so much to offer that's not necessarily a part of our membership, right? Those things are fantastic. We have anything that you can think of. I mean, we have a salon, we have yoga, we have a masseuse.
Massage, yep.
Yep.
You have a market, groceries, everything you can need.
But sometimes you just need a little bit of nature and you don't want to be fully secluded. So it's just a perfect location to be secluded if you want to be, but also be in the thick of the events and the fun downtown as well. My family lives on the east side of the island, and it's the perfect location because we're close enough to town that it's not. I mean, everything's close, right?
Yeah. How big is the island? 4 miles?
Yeah, 4x3. So we're close enough to downtown. If you need to go grab a coffee, you can go grab a coffee. But if you want the peace and quiet, you've got it in your front yard or your backyard. So, Kelleys has a lot to offer, but I think the nature part of it is definitely my favorite.
It's what makes it special. I agree. So if somebody wanted to plan a trip or learn more or find out about all of these amazing events that you guys have putting on, where can they go to get more information?
So you can visit our website. I will ask you to bear with us. Our website we're going through a rebranding effort. So we are updating our website and all of our marketing material as well. But our website is kelleysislandchamber.com. So you can visit that. You can plan your trip on there. Or you can call or email me. I can help you plan a trip. We can figure something out. Whatever you're looking for, we can do it for you.
What's your email address, Zoe?
My email is info@kelleysislandchamber.com.
Perfect. Is there anything else that you wanted to share today?
I'm looking forward to seeing some new faces on the island and hopefully in fall and spring as well. So
awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm sure our businesses are going to be thrilled to hear that we were on this podcast.
Oh, good. Well, special thanks to today's guest, Zoe Vargo from the Kelleys Island Chamber of Commerce. And a reminder that all of July's episodes of The Shoreline are brought to you by the Emporium. So special thanks to them again for their continued support. And thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a minute of the action here in Shores and Islands, Ohio. You can find more information, including past episodes of the podcast, online at shoresandislands.com. And we'll see you next time on The Shoreline.